In this video, I want to recap the track types that you can have in Pro Tools and describe them in a little greater detail and how I like to remember them. So a new track is Command Shift and N, Control Shift and N, and the new track window opens up. Now we've discussed the channels, the number of multi-channels you can have, mono, stereo, all the way through to ambisonics at the bottom there. Now I like to think of audio tracks as like a tape reel. The audio is actually on that tape. Audio is actually on the audio track. So it'll be audio files on the audio track. Next up is aux input. I like to think of aux as a mixer channel. So like a fader, there's no actual audio on the fader. It's just the tape deck going into that fader, and the aux channel is the control that we have during that strip. Next, we have a master fader. A master fader controls a channel output that we've just seen in the I/O window. So you can directly control just a channel output. You cannot control anything else. Next, we have the VCA. VCA, many different acronyms, but voltage controlled attenuator. A VCA is a fader that will allow you to control a select group of other faders. So if you pull the VCA down, it will pull down the relative grouped faders within that VCA group, the same amount, but the automation in those groups will maintain. So if you've got some rises and falls in volume, the VCA will not rewrite those, but it will pull down the overall volume up or down. Next, we have a basic folder. And I said this in earlier videos, the basic folder is just a graphic interface. It just allows us to bundle a load of tracks into one place and condense them down into a single looking track. A routing folder. Now, a routing folder is a combination of a basic folder and an aux input, allowing you to not only group things together in a folder structure, but also route the audio through that folder as if it's an aux input. Next, we have a MIDI track. Now, this is to control MIDI instruments. You might have some MIDI controllers, some keyboards, or some other instruments there. And you can record the MIDI information from those instruments onto this track. Next, we have an instrument track. Like a MIDI track, very similar, but this will come with an instrument installed on that track itself, whether it be a virtual guitar or synth, and you can program in, very similar to the MIDI track, into the instrument track itself. This can also be rendered out as audio. Also, we have some track presets, which are already made by Pro Tools, and you can save your own track presets and they will be saved in here. Let's create all of these and I'll show you in greater detail. Audio track has audio on it. Aux track is just a route through. So number one in to one out. Master can only look at the outputs. I've created a mono master, but I'd probably want a stereo master to handle those. It can only control the volume of those master outputs. Have a little look at that. You'll see that the master channel doesn't have any mute or solo functionality, but you can have plugins, but you cannot automate the mutes. The VCA, if we create a quick group, that will go into groups in a later video, and we're going to assign group 1 to that. And let me demonstrate a VCA. I'm going to pull this down, and you can see the light blue line, it has done the same movement to everything in that VCA group. Alt-click to go back to 0. This is a basic folder. I can take audio tracks, I can take auxes, and I can put them in a folder. And I can condense that folder down and we get this little block view to show that there's media in there. However, we can also take those audio tracks and put them in a routing folder. And this means that everything in here is routed wherever we choose here. So if I change that to 3 and 4, everything in here will go out to channels 3 and 4. We can also fold that down as well. And we've got the MIDI here. You can see the little keyboard. We can make this bigger by right-clicking on the edge here. And you can program in instrument. You would add an instrument, very similar to the MIDI. So those are the track types available in Pro Tools. The only one I haven't shown you is video, but we're not looking at video in this series just yet.